evening and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here at SUNY Oneonta. And as we get into the Winter Championship season of our schedule, we're going to talk to the wrestling program tonight. So if you join me after the break, I'll be joined by tonight's first guest, head wrestling coach Dwayne Ritter.
WUOW 104.7 FM is the region's premier radio station, offering award-winning programming from National Public Radio and Pacifica Radio networks, giving you the chance to become more informed about the arts, information, and entertainment from around the country and around the world. WUOW is your community radio station. Join us and support the sound.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is head wrestling coach Dwayne Ritter. Welcome back to the show, Dwayne.
Geoff, thanks for having me.
We are now we're done with our dual meet portion of our schedule. We finished 9-9 overall. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you think that part of the season went?
It was successful in some ways. In some ways, obviously, we'd like to put a few more wins on the board. But we had some close matches to some top nationally ranked teams. We had a bit of an injury-plagued season, so we lost several top starters. Fortunate part is it looks like a lot of them will get medicals, so they may have another year of competition. The downfall is we didn't have them for the dual meet portion of the season, so it kind of hurt in a couple matches that were close that we could have won possibly if we'd had another guy or two in the lineup. But overall, we also a very competitive schedule, and a lot of our losses were to top 30 nationally ranked teams, and we beat some good quality teams as well along the way. So
now, obviously the goal is to get to our the championship and get to the NCAAs and qualify, but how important is that dual portion of the schedule? What do you look for in that part of the schedule? It's
kind of a culmination. In wrestling you have the team and the individual component, which is good in a lot of ways, but the whole season kind of builds up around the idea of trying to get guys to the NCAAs. That's the ultimate achievement, if you can get someone there, if they can become an All-American or hopefully a national champ. And the dual meet portion of it, sometimes too you got to pick and choose guys that are injured. Do you put them in and risk losing them for the season in certain dual meets at certain times? And a little bit different than the high school level where there's more weight classes, a lot of high school 15 to 20 weight classes. You can make up if you have one or two out with 10 weight classes. It can be a drastic change if you pull a starter out of that 10-man rotation. And also having the weight classes to make, so you only have a limited number of 125-pounders, a limited number of 133. So even though you might have a 30, 35-man roster, they can only wrestle their designated weight class for the season. But like I said, it's a culmination just building up to it. We wrestle a very solid schedule. There's also tournaments along the way. We had some success there with some individual championships. One of them, Ben, who you'll talk to a little bit later, won two tournaments this year. So.
Now, when you're, again, we only have 10 weight classes, and you're recruiting guys to try and fit into where you think they might be in your lineup, and of course, with all these new, the weight classifications and the things that you have to do to make weight and be, approved for those different weight classes by the NCAA. When you're recruiting, do you look at someone and say they're in this weight class, or maybe eventually they'll move to a different weight class? How does that all work?
It's definitely a challenge. We try and evaluate it. Obviously, we're looking at kids and saying, where are we going to have an opening? We have a senior graduating at this weight class. This guy would be good for it. But again, you really can't predict. We had guys been very successful. Former All-American Dustin Wynn kind of went up a weight class each year while he was here. And then some guys will remain the same. So a lot of that is based off of whether they grow or not. And sometimes you're looking at a kid and you say, oh, he's going to be a 25-pounder. He comes back in and he weighs 160 by the time he gets here in the fall. So that option's kind of gone. And you have kids too that continue to grow throughout their 4 years here. So it's very challenging. And then sometimes even mid-year, you get guys that really just can't make the weight or it's too much for them anymore. And have to kind of shift around or move up. And again, with just 10 weight classes, just one change can really significantly impact, the team dynamics or the, rotation at that point.
So does it benefit someone to, be certified at a lower weight class, possibly?
Typically, there's a lot of new rules. Back when I was competing, there was 3 deaths at the NCAA level in Division I with weight loss and weight cutting. It was very tragic back in '97, I believe it was. And they kind of froze the weight classes. They put in the new increments with the certification process. So now all of our athletes have to hydrate. They've restricted a lot of the pass means of dehydration, things like that. They're not allowed to use anymore. So it's heavily restricted. We put in their weights to the 100th of a pound every weigh-in. It's regulated every week. They can only lose 1.5%. And it's really tracked. So again, a lot of guys want to get down to that minimum, but it's restricted to 5% if they are able to get there. And some of them are just more competitive too if they just eat and stay healthy up other weight classes. But a lot of it's mindset too. They have to believe in whatever choice they are making if they're going to get down there and make the commitment to it. They've got to have a serious diet plan all season long,
right.
Or if they stay up a little bit, then they got to make that work to their advantage
now you
as well.
say 5% or 1.5%, each week. Is that a pound, or is that a pound with proper hydration?
Depends. For example, initial athlete, if he came in and does an assessment at 200 pounds, he's regulated 1.5 per week, so he could lose only 3 pounds per week given the NCAA rules. It's monitored again every 24 hours. We have to input their weights, so they can't, drop 10 pounds from one weigh-in to the next. The days of doing that where guys would drop 20 pounds in a day are long past gone. So it's healthier, I think, for the athletes. It can also present more of a challenge if you do have guys that might need to move up a weight. That may mean that they can't return to the other weight class for another 3-4 weeks if that happens.
Now, when you're putting a schedule together, where guys are trying to, maintain weight plus maintain some kind of a healthy balance of their lifestyle of not always having to, lose a pound and a half, lose a couple pounds. How does that all shake out when you're trying to figure that into your equation of scheduling?
It's a challenge. As we get towards the end of the year, we have a pretty rapid schedule where we go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday. And that gets challenging for guys that are really trying to maintain that weight close. They're close to that 5%. It becomes just a moderation thing. You try and encourage them to stay healthy, maintain that weight within a healthy range. And the guys that are able to do that are the ones that are successful, come postseason and end of the year, if they've been able to keep the weight in control.
Now, what is it, so if I'm a 125-pounder, as long as because the next weight class is 134, right?
133.
133. What's the limit there? Can I wrestle 125 if I weigh 129, 130?
Nope, if you weigh 125.1,
oh.
You're out of that weight class and you'd only be eligible to wrestle 133.
Oh, okay.
So it goes to the 10th of a pound.
Wow.
There's no room for error. It's to the 10th of a pound every weigh-in. Again, which makes it a challenge because you have guys that are right there, really close, trying to get down, and occasionally some guys miss it, and by that close, 1/2 of a pound.
Yeah.
And they're out for the day unless you can use them in the lineup at the next weight class up.
Right.
So.
Now, once you tournaments, you wrestle all day long. These guys are trying to, fit in a snack or a meal or something that, that will keep them energized for their matches. You weigh in the morning, and there's no other weigh-in.
No, unless it's a 2-day, like the state championships and the NCAAs. If they qualify for the second day, they have to weigh in the second day with a 1-pound allowance. Again, if they're drinking a lot of Gatorade waters, trying to stay hydrated,
right.
Those fluids can add up quick. You take just a 32-ounce Gatorade, that's 2 pounds. So they have a couple of those throughout the day. They're battling with it. And they got to stay hydrated to compete. But typically, 1-day tournaments, they weigh in one time. And in moderation, they have to eat throughout the day because if they're wrestling match after match, they can't really put a lot in. But bagels, granola bars, fruit snack, things like that. We do a lot of bananas, clementines, stuff like that.
Now, so we're getting into the championship portion of our schedule. Who should we be looking for at the ECWC tournament coming up on February 25th at Brockport this year? Who are the guys we want to keep our eyes out for?
Ben Mckack, obviously at 133. He's had a great season. He's got over 25 wins, as well as Dan Graff and Joey Hauser. At 49 and 57, they have all produced great seasons, over 25 wins. Senior Jimmy Neal will be on here in a little bit. Also had some big matches over his career. He's a dangerous wrestler that could go with anyone. And like I said, those three have all had great seasons. We also have a couple guys in there heavyweight that have been wrestling off and on throughout the year. Vinny Barber's been having a great season. And right now, too, we also have Mike Holmaviva in there, who's been injured, but he's around. So we have a couple guys. Matt Eberline's still around there, too, in an area. So depending on what happens over the next 2 weeks, we're hoping guys stay healthy. But we have a lot of guys, like I said, that should be able to represent well there. Frank Provenzano is also looking to, hopefully get into the mix there. And we got to see, again, who's totally healthy. Jake Smith's really come on strong here now. He was one that bumped up a weight class. And Stevie Provenzano, he's had a good season. He's had some rough losses, but he's wrestled a number of top nationally ranked guys. Right to the wire. So he's had some losses, but he's went with them, and he knows he can now. And like I said, Jake, they kind of did the flip-flop there, 97, 84, and it's been pretty successful for both of them at this point.
Oh, that's good. Well, we certainly wish you good luck in that tournament, and hopefully we get some national qualifiers out. I want to turn my attention now, because of course the wrestling program is so steeped in community service and doing things for others. And this past fall, besides the pit run, which we always participate in and raise thousands of dollars for the Ricky Parisian Fund, let's talk about flood relief. This area was devastated by back-to-back storms, Hurricane Irene and Tropical Storm Lee. But the wrestlers answered the call. You guys actually went out and helped one of your own, John Nolis, on his father's home that got pretty much swept, not swept away, but pretty much the insides were totally gutted. So talk a bit about that experience and what it means to not only the college but the wrestling program to do things like that.
It's been a big part of my philosophy too, is to really just get the guys engaged. That's our pit run, the Greenway. We do a lot of stuff over the years, and really just try and engage guys. Again, it's great to just get them part of something bigger and to teach them. It's nice to give back. And this year it was kind of ironic because it started out, I'd seen the devastation in Margarettsville and some of the other places, so I came in thinking we wanted to do something. And actually in study session we got together and showed the guys some pictures, and we'd planned, we got a hold of Linda Drake, and I said, we want to go out and do this, can you help us? And of course she had a place up in Schoharie. We helped the 90-year-old man up there, Eugene Dietz. We actually gutted his entire house, really helped him a lot, did a lot of work for him. And during that same time as we were getting ready to go there was when the second part of the storm hit, and then one of our wrestlers, John Nolis' house was flooded in Owego. So again, we had plans. We did that in Schoharie. John actually went with us even though his own home was under, and it worked out well the following week, and then another week later I think actually we went out 4 different times and really got involved. So we helped in 2 different communities. It was a great experience for a lot of the guys. And it's nice too to just be able to help someone, especially when there's that level of devastation. It was just a real eye-opener to go into a community like that had just been wiped away. And then
the pictures that I got to see after you guys went to, roads, and it's just amazing, everything underwater. You don't even know how people kind of got back and forth and in and out of towns around here. Sydney was underwater again. We had another flood back in 2006 which flooded pretty much the same areas. What do you think the wrestlers themselves take away from that?
I can tell you, when we got in the vans after the first one, they were all pretty much exhausted. It was a rough day, gutting the house and dirty, grueling job. But I think it was very rewarding to all of them. The comments talking to them after that. They'd really experienced, something different that most of them had never been a part of, something that devastating, they'd helped people here, there, done some community service, you give something to charity, but to actually go out and see that kind of decimation and people that just had nothing, they'd lost everything, and were completely helpless. Some of them, again, just had no means of help, like Eugene, the guy we helped. There's really no one there to assist him or help him with that. And it was nice to be able to provide a kind of labor force to do that work and really help the family out. When they're looking at paying contractors, people to come in, it's thousands of dollars, that we save those people, and I think helping them get that back on their feet, and really moving. So when you do something, like I said, that extreme, and really go out there, get involved in, community service, activity of that level, I think it really, sets into the guys, and that's the greater lessons we're trying to teach.
Right.
I've had my life in wrestling, almost 30 years of it, and we want to put guys in the NCAAs and win that. But greater things are, things like that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. Just really making a difference and helping others.
And that's really the Division III philosophy. I mean, yeah, we'd love to win every match. We'd love to, take national champions and stuff like that. But really, it's the life lessons that these men are learning that I think is a tribute to you and the program of what you guys have done since you've been here, and even before you, with Al Sosa. I mean, he was the same way. So,
oh, yeah. Yep, and it's great to engage them in those things, and that's one of the things we try and sell, right off the beginning is, you're going to come here and we're competitive and we want to win and we work hard in wrestling, but also there's academics, there's community, there's family, there's things we want you to engage in and hopefully develop more as a person overall with your whole Oneonta experience here.
Well, we certainly want to say thank you for helping all those people, and certainly your wrestling program, and you guys are just doing a super job. And coming up here, we hope, like I said, I hope you guys are all healthy enough to get some guys in the national tournament, and you never know, bring home some All-Americans.
Well,
so thanks for coming by tonight.
Thanks.
All right, well, I'd like to thank head wrestling coach Dwayne Ritter for stopping by tonight. And after the break, I'll be joined by senior Jimmy Neal.
What makes D3 special is the ability to participate in my team and within the broader community.
The perfect ending to a perfect season.
Being a D3 student athlete has completely expanded my life.
I learned how to lead. I really found a voice.
What time is it?
It's more about the experience rather than just a sport itself.
Without the experience of being a Division III student athlete, I wouldn't be the person who I am today.
NCAA Division III. Discover, develop, dedicate.
Welcome back to the show. Now joining me in studio is senior wrestler Jimmy Neal. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Like you said, my name is Jimmy Neal. I'm a senior. I'm from Glens Falls, and I'm majoring in criminal justice.
And what are you hoping to do with that?
I'm really not sure yet. I'm looking into going into maybe the service or taking some police exams.
Yeah. Now, you've been with us for 4 years, had a pretty good wrestling career, and Dwayne said earlier that your senior season is really kind of culminating and coming together pretty well. You've had some pretty big wins against some pretty good wrestlers. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this year's experience before we talk about your cumulative experience?
This year was a little weird because I am the only senior pretty much, and it's weird being the old guy and kind of having to think a little bit like, this is the last time I'll go to Kings. This is the last time I'm wrestling at Cortland, like thinking about all that stuff. So having that, I try not to think about that too much, but as it's getting closer now to the postseason, it's starting to become more of like a realization, and I'm starting to think about it a little bit more.
Right, and do you look when you look back, good times?
Oh yeah, can't complain at all.
Yeah, your overall experience here at Oneonta, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
I remember when I first came in, like my freshman year, I remember we do like a pretty hard conditioning thing up on the Goat Hill near the baseball field, and I remember like halfway through that just thinking to myself, like, I'm not going to make it through a week of this. How am I going to do 4 years? And then it just seems like each year, it's like I can't believe I did another year. And like I started with like 20-some guys in my class, and it's each one keeps dropping off, and I'm just kind of like, I'm still here. So, I made a lot of good friends, had a lot of good memories, and can't complain.
Something to be proud of, to be a 4-year athlete at the Division III level?
Oh, yeah, it feels good, because a lot of people don't do it, You don't see, like, a lot of kids that I remember from even other schools, like a lot of sports, the kids just don't make it 4 years because it is Division III, and you just start to grow up and you have other things you want to do, and you only have so much time, so it's hard to keep it rolling.
Right. Now, you said you and Carlos, another senior. How important is it for you guys to be seniors on a team where you can kind of lead a little bit?
Yeah, that's another thing that I said. Like I said, being like strange to me this year is like, I remember like sharing memories with guys like, oh, remember at the Kings tournament, so-and-so, blah, 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 and like nobody knows because they weren't there. Like I was the only one that was there, Right. So it's like almost like a wisdom thing, like kids asking me like, oh, where do we do this and that at tournaments, and like I'm the only one who knows because I'm one of the few people on the team that's been to these places and wrestled in these tournaments and things like that.
Now, we also, what are you looking forward to at the season-ending tournament? I mean, the weight all the weight classes are tough. I mean, the Empire Collegiate Conference is pretty top-notch wrestling in this region. We have a lot of All-Americans every year. What are you personally, individually looking for, hoping for at that?
I mean, like you said, it's one of the toughest conferences in the country, and most kids who win the Empires become All-Americans. It's very rare for a winner to not be an All-American, and it's usually a winner plus a wild card at most weights is All-American. So the main thing I'm looking forward to is just not thinking about who I'm wrestling, just going out there, and it could be my last time ever. I'm just going to leave it all out there and give it everything I have.
Right. Coach Ritter mentioned that you're a dangerous wrestler. What's dangerous about you? Is there a move, or is there something that...
I don't think it's like a particular thing that I do, but I've never been the type of person to care, like, oh, this guy from Ithaca is ranked this and that. Like, it's never affected me. I like to think, like, I'm as tough as anybody out there, and if anything, it makes me more motivated when a kid's like that, because it's like, so what's this kid done that I haven't done,
Right, because you guys both, well, chances are you guys go through the same kind of training, same kind of, matches. You guys wrestle a lot of the same people throughout the year. What has it meant for you to be able to compete at that level?
I mean, it's something that you don't even realize it, really. You don't think about, like, I remember when I went home back to my high school for the first time, like, I grew up training with my cousin, and we were always, like, pretty even. And I remember, like, after my first stint here with college wrestling, like, going home and, like, I was just a lot better than everyone there. Like, you don't even think about, like, because you're wrestling with guys on your team who are doing the same thing and getting just as good, so it's like, you don't notice it until you, like, gauge yourself against other things.
Right. Memories, we talked to Coach Ritter a little bit about community service and some of the things that you guys participate, the pit run and the flood relief. What does it mean for you to be able to impact people's lives outside of wrestling?
I almost feel like as a team we kind of take it for granted because it's so casual for us to do the pit run. It's hard to realize, like, how much of an impact the pit run, like, Coach Ritter has made it such a thing where it's like, it's not a question. Like, we raise money for the pit run. Like, It's almost like we kind of take it for granted because it's an every year thing. Every kid on the team does it. And I feel like it's always like, oh, the pit run, I don't want to run, blah, blah. And then at the end, it's all, like, smiles and everybody, like, likes it,
An accomplishment.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment for sure.
Yeah, now with the flood relief this past fall, what did that mean for you to be able to be involved in that?
Like, getting out there and seeing, like, the devastation and stuff was, like, pretty eye-opening, and realizing, like, this is, like, a real, like, you hear about, like, hurricanes and stuff on the news and it's never around here, like, you don't think about it, and then you go there and you see, like, this is this guy's house, This is all he has and it's destroyed. Right. So, like, being able to help out with that it's a pretty good feeling,
Yeah, so overall you'd say your experience here at Oneonta as a Division III athlete, would you trade it for anything?
Oh, no, I'm 100% completely happy that I came here, everything that I experienced, the good times and the bad, and just being able to help people and all that's just a bonus.
Yeah, well, we certainly want to congratulate you up to this point on a great career, and certainly wish you good luck in the Empire Collegiate Tournament, and hopefully you can get to the Nationals.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks. I'd like to thank senior wrestler Jimmy Neal for stopping by tonight, and after the break, I'll be joined by sophomore Ben Mckack.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool, really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is sophomore wrestler Ben Mckack. How you doing, Ben?
Good.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and place East Amherst. Yep. And I'm a criminal justice major here. I'm a sophomore.
Another criminal justice. So you guys, yes. A lot of criminal justice guys on the wrestling team?
A few guys, yeah.
Yeah. Does it help coming into a wrestling team as a youngster with a lot of guys who might be in your major to help you out or let you know?
I think so. Guys definitely work together and try and just do as best they can. So all the help you can get.
Yeah. Now, of course, you've had 2 solid years. I mean, you were top wrestler last year for us, and of course this year you're just continuing to do that. The transition from high school to college, how hard was that?
Definitely entering college, the training was different, and you're wrestling with a lot of guys that are older, have more experience. So that was tough itself. When I first came here, just training with the guys, it was a different level. Definitely getting beat up a little more than you're used to.
Yeah.
But, you know, you progress quick, and as I become like a sophomore, just doing better and keeping up pretty well.
Now, mentally, does that wear on you? Because obviously in high school, like you said, you were probably beating up on almost everybody.
Yeah.
But now you're in college, and maybe you lose a few matches. I mean, what is it mentally? How is that?
Well, yeah, being in high school, you've you know, you start at the bottom once again and work your way up, and so you kind of have the same mindset in college. Coming in thinking I just want to start, or you know, you don't really expect how well you're going to do because it's just completely different.
Right.
You know, but then just comparing my skills and doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I expected more.
Now, I mean, you've been doing very well for us. Now, what any highlight wins for you that you might like to talk about? I mean, you've wrestled quite a few nationally ranked guys, and you've also, you know, in some of the tournaments. I mean, you've won quite a few tournaments for us. I mean, is there any wins stand out more than others in your first couple of years?
Well, a few matches freshman year was more just competing with top-ranked guys in the country. I would just go out on the mat and just do my best and actually hang with guys that are national finalists. Right. You know, keep it really, really close. And then for this year and even last year, most important is just getting those conference wins against teams like Cortland or Ithaca. This was really important wins that come down to the end of the year.
Right, because we're getting into that part now, and when they start to seed guys in different weight classes, because we can only bring 1 guy per weight class. I mean, that's it. I mean, there are 10 starters, and that's what we bring. So, you know, hopefully those head-to-head type matches, you gear up a little extra for the times we go against Cortland and some of the, because we don't wrestle some of the teams, and we don't wrestle Messiah and Lycoming, who are in our conference. But what's it like to try and gear up for some of those guys?
Well, if you wrestled them before and you've won, obviously it's important just to come back just as strong and not give them any leeway, because obviously they're training to beat you just the same as you're training to beat them. So just preparing mentally and making sure you're physically healthy for the end of the year. It's really important.
It really is. You have to pace yourself. I mean, wrestling starts October, you know what I mean? And you guys go all the way till end of February, March, if you're in the national tournament.
Right.
How do you, throughout the season, try to maintain, you know, your fitness? And, you know, we talked to Coach Ritter about the weight certification and, you know, only can be within certain pounds and all that. How do you space that out of a season?
Well, it definitely is a long season, and you know that approaching. Pretty much it's just taking one thing at a time, one match at a time, keeping your weight in check and almost being on a routine so that you know, you can make it easier on yourself.
Right. Now, what's your routine? How do you maintain your?
Well, obviously diet is very important, but another thing is just doing the extra things. Everybody practices, you know, but you got to do the extra runs and the extra lifts in the weight room, and just those extra things to put you on top and keep your weight down. It's everything.
Right. Now, as a sophomore, because actually quite a few of our sophomores, you know, yourself, Dan Graff, you know, Steve Provenzano, I mean, we have quite a few, and Jake Smith, I mean, who's emerged now for us. How important is that to be in a class that, you know, each year has gotten, you know, even from freshmen to sophomores, gotten better, and you guys are going to be counted on over the next 2 years to really lead our program. I mean, do you feel pressure at all?
Well, I think that our class has stuck together pretty well, and we've all progressed a lot, and a lot of sophomores are in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident in all of our guys, and I think we have a chance to do really good things. And I know the team does rely on us, coach relies on us, but I think we've been doing a pretty well job.
Yeah. Now, so do you think that you're? Do you look at yourself as a leader as a sophomore in our program?
Yeah, I think so. I became a captain this year, so that's more responsibility, and just being a part of the team and helping guys out and just doing everything I can to, you know, make sure everybody's doing their best.
Right. I mean, that's really what it's about. I mean, it's a team sport, but individually, you guys have to kind of all be on the same page as well, or else it just really doesn't work the same way, right?
Yeah, the more everybody individually wants to be the best and do as best they can. It pushes everybody in the room, makes everyone else better. So
right.
It is an individual sport, but you need other people to push you and make you better too.
Right. Now, what are you looking forward to as we get into that Empire? Where do you think you'll be seated?
Should have the second seed.
Second seed?
I'm pretty confident with that. Definitely tough bracket, but I think I have a good chance to win.
Now at 133, Ithaca. Is the Ithaca kid there? What is he defending?
Yeah, returning national champ.
Yeah, okay.
So
tall order, but
yeah, I wrestled him before. He's very tough, but anything's possible. So hopefully just focus one match at a time and get out there in the finals and just get everything I got.
Now, I mean, of course, there's 5 wild cards for the Empire Collegiate. I mean, are you hoping even for that, even if you come in second place?
Yeah, definitely. Even with someone who's that caliber, someone who's like returning national champ, they usually give wild cards to the next place guy. So
yeah, well, we certainly. I mean, you certainly are capable. We are all kind of hoping that all of our guys will be kind of in that mix or whatever. But so we certainly wish you the best of luck. Stay healthy because it still is a couple weeks out that you have to still train and keep yourself ready to go, but certainly want to thank you for coming by and good luck
in
the next coming weeks. All right. Well, I'd like to thank all my guests tonight from the wrestling team, and as always, you can follow all their results from the Empire Collegiate Wrestling Tournament. Again, that's on Saturday, February 25th at Brockport, and we'd like to remind you that you can get all the results from all of our athletic teams on our website, and we'd like to thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time on Inside Red Dragon Sports.